Welcome to round number 26 of 38. Only 2 races left until the playoffs after tonight here at the Brickyard, the Oval. It's the Brickyard 200. Chris, I am joined in the booth, and it's going to be a great race here tonight on the legendary Indy Oval.
That it is, the yard of bricks, Jared. Every driver in this field wants to be able to claim this victory. It's a prestigious, not at the sorry.
And I believe we might have lost Chris there. Apologies about that. But we'll go ahead and take a look at what is going on here in qualifying right now as these drivers on the track. Jeff Chandler at the top right now of the board. We're still having some technical difficulties with Chris there. And apologies about that, but qualifying underway here at Indianapolis. Jeff Chandler on the top of the board here. We take a look at the rest of these guys. Some guys still turning lap times in right now on the track. We got 42 drivers here tonight, so it's a very large field, and we can't be remiss to talk about what's going on with the playoff race. So let's take a look at that championship marquee and how it's stacking up right now. So there you have it on your screen. The cutoff line now is between Wayne Grassi and Brian Helm. Brody Hanna didn't win last week, but he got himself, or did win at Watkins Glen, apologies. But he had already won, but those points got him inside the top 25 in points, which means Brian Helm now sitting on the outside by 8 points behind Wayne Grassi. Case McMullen has an opportunity tonight. Should we not get a new winner, he could clinch his way into the playoffs on points if he is above 84 points above the cut line coming out of tonight. And Chris, you look at these standings, it's going to get tight when we have Indy, Michigan, and Daytona to finish out the regular season.
These tracks, Jared, tend to be a bit of a wild card here on the iRacing server, so all these drivers want to do everything they possibly can to be able to make up these points and lock themselves in. Colin's going to be the one to try to do that here tonight.
Exactly right, Chris. And, you look at these drivers and, we have raced at the Brickyard, the oval version, 3 times in FTSR. Dean Doucette has won 2 of them. Brody Hanna has won 1 of those races. So it's going to be interesting to see if we get a first-time winner on the Yard of Bricks tonight. But we will find out at the end of 80 laps here tonight. We look at the field, 42 drivers start. So everybody going to make the race, nobody going home, which is always a good sign. But we look at this track, Chris, 9-degree banks in the turns, but you have 4 straightaways that you have to deal with, each of them a little bit different.
That you do. Turns 1 and 2 are a little bit different than turns 1 and 3 are a little bit different than 2 and 4. Getting all confused there. Those 2 corners, 1 and 3, are a lot more difficult because you've got a lot more speed going into them, Jared. A lot of guys are going to have to be battling a loose race car in order to be fast at the end of a long run. Exactly
right. And you look at the temperatures and the race information for Indianapolis here tonight. 72-degree air temp, 113-degree track temp, 70% humidity, cloudy winds out of the east at 3 miles an hour. So we're going to have some pretty racy conditions here at the famous Brickyard. We take a look at this race information here tonight, and down your bottom right, this track opened in 1903. It was the home of auto racing up until the First World War. This track nearly was out of existence by the time the Second World War went around. This track was covered in grass and was sold at a public auction. And the guys that bought it were able to bring this track back. It was eventually bought by the Holman George family that turned it into what you see today. And now Roger Penske owns it. But this is a 2.5-mile flat track, a lot like Pocono, for those that are familiar with that track. 9-degree banking in the turns, so no uniqueness in the turns as far as something like Pocono goes. But you will have to use the access roads coming off of pit road, not coming on. And Chris, that entry to pit road is a very tight and sharp angle.
That it is, and also you're trying much speed as you possibly can here, Jared, to get in there. A lot of time can be lost or gained coming to pit road here.
Sure can, and it is going to be one of those kind of races to see who can get on and off pit road the quickest. This race typically in the past has been a very relatively low caution race, but when we do have cautions, they do tend to come at the beginning of the race here tonight, and I'd expect that will be much the same if we do get those wrecks. It is a tough place. This track, very aerodynamic push coming out of these turns, Chris.
That's true, and you have to deal with the draft here coming down these. On the beginning of these runs, we're coming out of a restart. This track and its long green flag run. These guys, they're going to have to play a little bit of strategy if they're going to be able to make it to the end and be up front.
That's a good point there. Still a little bit of technical issue on your side, Chris, but we'll try to get that resolved. But we look at this racetrack, and right now, practice or the final final warm-up underway right now. So you look at the times. Jeff Chandler, of course, on the pole, but let's take a look at our qualifying results for everybody at home to kind of take a look and see where your favorite driver lined up. And we'll obviously have the starting lineup coming up here shortly. But we look at this, Jeff Chandler on the pole, but it is all winners in the top 6 this year. Then we have Brian Helm, Bernard Persson, Zach McDaniel, and Chris Stouffer making his debut in the number 13 for Shock and All Racing. He is going to roll off 10th, but we'll talk a little bit about that on the grid countdown there. But pretty quick times here tonight, Chris, at Indianapolis.
That's true, Jared. Here, these times are definitely really close here. And just under or just over 50 seconds here. It may seem like a long time, but these laps are going to fly by in a hurry.
They sure are, and we're going to have all the action. This warm-up is just about over. Looking over my shoulder, it is about 20 seconds. So we're going to go ahead and get the national anthem as performed by Alyssa Shipman.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the lands of the free and the home of the brave?
In the 11th position, you're going to have Dean Doucette, Dean Doucette, and behind him, Brian Helm, and I'm going to turn it back over to you. That I am, Jared.
So Jeff Winter and Tori Torgerson will lead them down. And green flag is out here at Indianapolis. And a great start by Jeff Chandler down into turn 1. Torgerson trying to hang on the outside. Hanna sticks his nose in coming off the turn. Chandler's going to clear coming off turn number 2. And Torgerson's going to roll up into second place, battling all behind him, coming down the back straightaway, Chris. Apologies, I guess.
A battle of a lot of different cars there behind them, as it looks like we've got about 3-4 rows, 2 cars deep.
Dean Doucette battling with Tim Bills. 3 wide back there. Helm is going to go up there, but looks like it is all sorted out. Dean Doucette getting in front of Tim Bills. Everybody doing a great job back through the middle of this pack, getting their car in order. Dean Doucette trying to move up, like we said before at the top of our telecast. He has won twice at Indianapolis, and Brody Hanna, the only other winner in FTSR history. Top 5 have spread out a little bit. We look back, Bill Benedict battling with Bernard Persson. That's a battle for about 11th position here. Then we have Lane Allen and Jeff Chandler, battling. Chuck Sweeting going to make a big move down the back straightaway, Chris.
Into turn 3, looks like the two of the Sweeney and Person are going to be side by side going through the corner. Jared, these corners, even though they're a very fast-paced corner, they are also very tight when you're alongside 2 drivers. 3 drivers in a row here, not going to work side by side.
Chuck Sweeting does get the job done, so move him up 1 position or 2 positions from the start. Bernard Persson slipping back down 4. Then we look at our battles back here. Point leader and de facto regular season champion Bobby Terrell. He's pretty much got that locked up with tonight's start, and he has dropped 2 spots. He's battling with Jeff Winter, but he's got young gun Adam Newton all over the back. We got Randy McCanney in this battle as well. Near contact coming off turn 2.
Yeah, it's hard to say that they didn't actually make contact. It was definitely close enough that they could have held a piece of paper. Opportunity to get below McCanney and try to take
Andrew Poliski, though, loose on the bottom, holds on to that 96, but that's going to open the door for Matt Geringer to look on the outside. But the Chris, we all know the outside line a little bit difficult to pass on.
This drafting help when you get side by side with another car. The cars behind you catch.
We look at Kevin Rupert, Kenneth Schultz back there in 25th and 26th. Sure, Williford back here as well. We look at the battling. Everybody has gotten single file all the way back to James Torrey. Casey Mullen off the pace in the back. Tracy Powers, I do not see him on the track, or Dale Nearad. And looks like Dale Nearad connection issues for that 03 car, so that's not good for our top 5 and point man, as he was dropped out earlier. Jumping on board Mike Watts, as he's going to come into John Held here. This is a battle back deep in the pack, Chris, 31st position, but some of these drivers have an opportunity to still make the playoffs if they get a win.
That they do, and that's why they're battling as hard as they are, Jared. Back here in the back, it doesn't seem like much, but the 25 is trying to do everything here. That's Mike. Sorry, that's the number 3 that I'm looking at. Mike Watts, he was able to get around the John Held in the 10, and Gil Gott 5 there, doing everything he can to try to get up to these guys and battle. Gil just not be able to car early.
And Chris, I'm seeing Casey Mullen on pit road, and he has got a missing front clip. I don't know if you can get an update on that. I don't have anything coming through as an incident, unfortunately, for the 71 machine, but he has definitely got some damage on the front end of that 71 car, making an unscheduled pit stop. Right now, up front, 5 laps in, it's Chandler, Torgerson, Hanna. They haven't changed since the start. Doucette up 2, Chris Stouffer, a renowned IndyCar driver, runs a lot of IndyCar races on the service, and we got 3 wide behind him. They're going to sort that out. That's Chuck Sweeting. But Chris Stouffer making a move 5 positions up here tonight in his debut race.
And Jared, looking back through it, I'm trying to figure out what happened to the 71 machine. Looks like to see on my end.
Yeah, very strange indeed. Nothing came up on our end, and nothing Chris is seeing, but definitely some damage on the 71 machine. That may have happened under the just getting started, and that can happen from time to time. But unfortunate for our top driver without a win yet this year. But Jeff Chandler leading. That gap is up to about 0.8 right now. Troy Torgerson, Brody Hanna, they had great nights on Thursday in the Xfinity Series at this track. And a lot of things can be very similar. But, Chris, you notice at this track, these cars get spread out very quickly.
And actually catching up with a 71 machine and the very start of the race, he ended up getting into someone. That's what caused the damage, Jared.
Well, there you go. Unfortunately, not able to get a replay on that. Nothing came up in our system, so we'll have to maybe check on that at the end of the race. But right now, Dean Doucette getting chased down a little bit by Chris Stouffer, Rachel Hunt, Tim Bills. These guys all in position. But Chris, I wanted to talk about a guy that is looking to maybe get himself back in the points race. Brian Helm, thanks to Brody Hanna winning last week, he falls out of the top 16 in the points or in the playoff positions, and he is now outside of the playoffs by 8 points to Wayne Grossi. He's getting a shove down the straightaway by Zach McDaniel, who works with Tim Bills. So no love lost between those two right now, Chris.
Absolutely. Brian Helm doing everything early on to do to lock himself into this playoff race, and he's going to have to do it the hard way based on.
Yeah, he is. If he does not get a victory, he's going to have to point his way in. And there are 4 drivers, or about 6 drivers, that can still point their way in to this series. Brian Helm, Wayne Grossi, Lane Allen, Casey Mullen, Kevin Rupert, Andrew Polisky, Chad Lang, all able to point their way in. Chad Lang, it does not appear, or he is here. He is in 13th position. I missed that 4 car. Randy McCanny off the track. And the 27 car has heavy damage in the short chute, on the second short chute. And let's see what happened to Randy McCanny. So he's bound with Lane Allen. Oh, and Lane Allen gets loose or something, hits the wall. McCanny does a great job trying to hold on to that machine, but he comes back up the track. Oh, and he gets hit by Kenneth Schultz. And nothing anybody can do when you come back out on the track. Randy McCanny did everything he could. And unfortunately, that little contact, Chris, is going to probably end McCanny's night.
I would say so, Jared. This is not one of those tracks like our short tracks where you can come out with damage and still be competitive here. Aero means so much at this racetrack.
You saw that contact again. Lane Allen got loose, it looked like on the straightaway, and unfortunately, Randy McCanny there. Right now, the top 3. The only change, Dean Doucette did get around right around that time of that accident. He does put himself up 1 position into 3rd place. Troy Torgerson still in 2nd, Hanna 3rd, Stouffer 4th, Hanna 4th, Stouffer 5th, Hunt, Helm, McDaniel, Bills, and Benedict your top 10, Chris. Will anybody come down pit road as we are only 1/8 of the way into this race?
It actually looks like the entire field, Jared, is going to make their way to pit road.
And I am surprised. Everybody coming in. Oh, Chad Lang. Chad Lang is going to stay out in the number 4. And it looks like, is that Jeff Winter, I believe, staying out. And we know Casey Mullen will stay out as well because he has already pitted. And it looks like somebody else has stayed out as well, Chris. So it looks like we got Lang and that's our new guy, Josh Johnson. He has stayed out tonight, Chris, and that's a big gamble for the 05 machine.
That it is, looking at making a little bit of a name for himself here in this league. The guy, he wants to go out and show that he has the ability to do it. The one person that's getting Casey McMullen's going to get a lap back here.
Chandler does win the race off pit road. You see it all file out here. Gehringer beats out Bobby Terrell. Just ahead of Jeff Winter. Adam Newton will come out as well in about 20th. Everybody else pretty much status quo back through the middle of this field as we get the pits all cleaned up here. But Chris, big strategy call by Chad Lang. Is this what happens when you have playoffs on the line and you're like, I got to do something different? Now, Josh Johnson, he is not going to be eligible for the playoffs, win or not. He hasn't started enough races. But Chad Lang, on the other hand, he's sitting in 17th in points, or 18th in points. He's about 35 points out. So first off, you're picking up a bonus point, which could help you out in the long run. Number 2, track position. Chris, is this a good call for the 4 car?
I don't know, but it's certainly a way to get yourself up here to get the quite in on points and try to do whatever he can to get into that bubble.
Exactly right, and I think that's going to be something that we'll have to look and see what can happen with Chad Lang. But he is going to stay out. Josh Johnson going to stay out. So Jeff Chandler will be 3rd, Torgerson 4th, Doucette, then Hannah, Stouffer, Helm, Hunt, Bills, and McDaniel. The rest of your drivers off of pit road as they all come down. But Chris, now if you look at Jeff Chandler, you've been leading this whole race. Now you have to start behind somebody in dirty air. How much have you worked on that? How much is in your mind? And how much are you concerned to see that happen with these guys out in front like this?
I think it's a little bit concerning because now you don't know what to expect. It's one thing to practice around other guys with the same tire strategy as you. That's not the case right here. You're starting at the second row here on the inside lane, and really you don't know if they burn their tires up, if they've saved them, or anything like that. Anything can happen here, specifically because now you're around guys that you haven't been battling even early on.
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to look and see what's going to happen. But Chad Lang, that wasn't a gimmick. He wasn't just trying to lead a lap. He's trying to stay out here and get track position and see where he can shake out. So Chad Lang will lead them down with Josh Johnson, the newbie, alongside him. And that's always a pit in your stomach moment when you have somebody that you haven't raced around leading him down. But Josh Johnson, a class act driver. So it's going to be interesting to see what he can do in that number 05 there. But you look at the rest of this field. So far, some great racing, but this track enveloped really quickly into single file. Tracy Powers has rejoined the server. He is 2 laps down, and he is going to be back out, but that could be some positions in the points as he's trying to stay inside the top 25, as that is also something important to make the races.
And Jared, we're going to back green here, lap 12 here. We're already over an eighth of the way through this race. That's how quick these laps tick off here at Indianapolis.
Exactly right. Pace car is off. Chad Lang will lead him down, followed by Josh Johnson down to the green flag. Flagman holds it, and we are back under green here at Indianapolis.
A little bit of tire coming up to speed, but was able to get it going. Chandler going to look to the end.
Josh Johnson, nothing he can do right now, but he is going to hang tight on the outside. Chad Lang moves up the racetrack. Jeff Chandler is going to dip underneath of him into turn number 2, apologies. So that is a quick work for Jeff Chandler, and this is a huge advantage as he's able to clear those 2 drivers on older tires. Dean Doucette going to do the same. He's got Torgerson, and now they're just sitting ducks. Brody Hanna stuck behind him right now.
That outside lane will certainly feel the impact of these 2 staying out on the old tires. As everyone on the inside is going to be getting around them. Some guys will be pretty wide to get around them.
Chandler and Doucette have pulled out already, over a second on the rest of this group. Jumping on board, Josh Johnson in that number 05 machine, making his debut, and he's doing good, hanging out there. But again, these cars a little bit off the pace just because of those old tires, and a little bit loose from Brody Hanna, holds on to it.
Brody Hanna was looking to go 3 wide down one. Thought better of it, but this time around he may do it just to get around this 05 machine.
Brody Hanna still stuck behind the 05, labeled as the 57 here tonight, but is registered as the 05. Brody Hanna will get on the inside of him going into turn 3, though.
That he will, and just look at how much quicker he is going through the car. Difference between these old and new tires. 9 laps, Jared, under green, but it
Shut up.
It seems like a whole half of a race with as fast as these guys are going. Brody Hanna now pushing Tim Bills.
Something happened deep in the pack, but everybody's keeping it going. It was somewhere around Shore Williford. They're 2 wide, but everybody's gotten it going. Don't see anybody with damage back here, but TJ Bartel, Mike Watts made evasive action to get around somebody. Maybe Matt Geringer hit the wall. That's the only thing I can think of. Up front, though, and somebody, Josh Johnson, nearly in the wall back there in front of Stephen Vrooman in the 00. And they're 3 wide down the back straightaway.
Rachel Hunt on the outside here with these guys were 3 wide. They were trying to work their way around the 05 after he hit that wall, and just a great job by everyone getting around it, but threw a wrench in all these drivers and bunched them back up just that much more.
Chad Lang has been able to get himself kind of cleared out. Now, he was running in 14th position when the caution came out. Right now, sitting running in 8th place. Tim Bill's going to pass. Yes, he does. So I don't know if this is going to pay off for Chad Lang. But if he gets a caution here in the next 6 laps, it's going to be brilliant. But if this thing goes green to the next stop, it's going to look Chad Lang.
Strategies and all but one other person in the field, Jared, and that's going to be green here.
Chris, it looks like might have lost you a little bit there for a second, but we've got you back there. Apologies for it's the name of the game when you're dealing with the internet occasionally. But Jeff Chandler leading right now, 3/10 over Dean Doucette. Troy Torgerson under heat from Chris Stouffer. Brian Helm has freed himself from the pack. He is up on the back of Chris Stouffer. We got a 3-car battle for 3rd place going into turn number 2, Chris.
That 3 here. Brian Helm is kind of in the background here as he's trying to do everything he can to catch Chris Stouffer and Ferguson, but these 3 drivers are way far behind our. But Chandler got a little bit of heat behind him with Doucette.
Chandler doing everything he can right now. Now, Jeff Chandler has given up his playoff spot. He's got 3 wins on the year, so he has elected not to take up a playoff spot because of his work schedule. But right now, Dean Doucette, he needs all the bonus points he can get. Another win would be another 3 playoff points for that 29 machine, as Jeff Chandler and Dean Doucette have stepped out from the rest of this field. 2.5 seconds back to Troy Torgerson, Stouffer, and Brian Helm.
Interesting to note that he's actually able to keep up with him at first. Almost. Now he's each corner.
Yeah, he is. He has caught back up to Jeff Chandler. He was a little bit further back, as Chris was saying there a little bit, and Dean Doucette a little bit loose through the turn 3 short chute and jump on board the 29 machine. 17 laps in, and these guys running very identical laps, very identical turns and everything, so not going to be a lot of separation. And you see just how deep this straightaway is. Jeff Chandler, Dean Doucette. Dean Doucette with a great run down out of turn 4, closes right up to the back bumper of him.
The only lap was not Chandler.
Looking further back in the field, Chris Stouffer on the back of Torgerson with Brian Helm as well. Brody Hanna has cleared Tim Bills, but there is quite a bit of a battle back here. Tim Bills, Chuck Sweeting, Zach McDaniel, all in this group. Rachel Hunt is in 10th, followed by Bernard Person in 11th. Bill Benedict, Vrooman, Terrell, and Jeff Winter, your top 15. Adam Newton, Chad Lang, Kevin Rupert, Williford, and Johnson, who stayed out on those old tires, has dropped back to 20th. But this has been a net gain for Josh Johnson. He was back in 35th position. He's up now 9 positions from his starting position, up 15 before that pit stop, Chris.
And he's going to have a little bit of a hole after Andrew Poliski and the R26 gets around him to be able to ahead on the inside.
Battling back here, sure, Williford also in this mix. Williford
got incredibly loose coming off the corner. Going to give a lot of room there for Sherwood Williford to almost look. Look at how the cars bunched up when that happened, Jared.
And Chris, we're still having some technical issues with you, Chris. You maybe if you restart TeamSpeak, we might be able to get you with a little bit better connection. But right now on track, it is Chad Lang battling 3x3. He's going to get out of the way. So the 57, which is the 05 of Josh Johnson, that is those 2 guys were the guys that stayed out on those pits. Chad Lang dropping back quite a bit from where he was. So this strategy has not paid off for him. Otherwise, Josh Johnson, it's working out for him. But up front, Dean Doucette is on the back bumper of Jeff Chandler as we are now a quarter of the way through the race here at Indianapolis. Chandler leading, Doucette second, and Torgerson still holding off Brian Helm for third, who gets underneath of Chris Stouffer for fourth.
And Helm, he knows what's on the line for him as he's trying to make his way up, but we've got another caution, Jared.
You did sound a lot better this time around, Chris. Again, apologies about the technical difficulties there. And it's Donnie Staubitz that's involved. And maybe John Held also. Can't tell. That looks like John Held. Let's see what happened to Donnie. So Donnie is coming down the straightaway. And he's got the... Oh, and somebody... Lane Allen again gets in. We'll have to take another look at that. But Lane Allen and the 10 car look like maybe made contact there, and those guys wrecking hard. Donnie Staubitz, the innocent bystander of that wreck. Let's see if we can get a better view of what happened to the 99 machine. So coming down the straightaway, it looks like Jason Spear is up on the outside with Lane Allen. John Held on the bottom. John Held comes up the racetrack and just keeps coming up into Lane Allen, and then comes down the track, slams into the 99, and John Held heavy damage. Donnie Staubitz had heavy damage as well.
People that are caution came out is going to be the two drivers that stayed out that last time. That's going to be a huge relief for Lang and Johnson.
Lang and Johnson both will be definitely coming down pit road now, but Rachel Hunt and Adam Newton are going to stay out this time, Chris. Everybody else down pit road.
They're able to do the exact same thing that Lang was able to do as well, which is get that net game, or at least like Johnson did, as he was able to keep his positions here. And really, that's going to make a world of difference for a couple of these drivers now just looking to get another bonus point here for Rachel Hunt.
So Adam Newton will stay out as well. Rachel Hunt stays out. We saw last time Chad Lang, he'll come in around 18th position. So this might be a net gain for him. Definitely a net gain for Josh Johnson, though, who is on pit road. The other guys that have been in fact, Tracy Powers, who is going to be our lucky dog in the 45 machine there, as he is down the way. Randy McCanny just now getting back on the track. He is a lucky dog, so Randy McCanny will get one of his laps back in the number 27 car after being involved in the first caution of the night. So Chris, we've been able to go basically about a 10 to 12 lap run here. If you're Rachel Hunt and Adam Newton, how are you feeling about the call to stay out right now?
Well, you just got an experience of what just happened with the cars that did stay out. You're hoping that your chances are a little bit better than theirs because it's about the same amount of laps on their tires as they did, and you saw how quickly that they fell back. They may be just hoping that they'll be able to save a set of tires.
And that could be something too. There is a tire limit, so they have 4 tires they have available to use in the pits along with the one set they start the race on. And having a set, especially if this thing goes a little bit cautions at the end of the race, having a set always important. But right now, Jeff Chandler is still the winner on pit road. But Troy Torgerson, with a great pit stop, he beats Dean Doucette off. And it was basically all about getting on pit road for Troy Torgerson. Dean Doucette did not get on pit road very good and had a little bit of issue, had to back up, it looked like. And that cost him a significant amount of time. Looking at this field right now, just to give you an update on where everybody is. Randy McCanny now showing 1 lap down. Donnie Staubitz 2 laps down. He is putting that car to the garage. Tracy Powers 6 laps down. Dale Nerad 7 laps down right now. Donnie Staubitz the only driver officially out of the race right now with that damage.
Jared, we saw a lot of different things play out in that last restart here with the old up front. On that second row again here, Dean Doucette now on the inside there. That might end up being an advantage for him.
And we've seen the inside line be very quick, but it's all about what these guys on the front row can do. Can Rachel Hunt and Adam Newton get a good start here? That's going to be the question, because it is going to be huge for them to do so. And you also don't want to cause a big checkup either. Rachel Hunt leading them down right now in the number 16 machine. Just joined Elliott Sadler Esports over the past week, so congratulations to her in her endeavor there. Adam Newton would not be playoff eligible if he got a win, but you know, it's good experience to get up front, Chris. We've seen that before. You get yourself up front, you get used to running with some guys you haven't ran before, and all of a sudden the next week you're up there contending for a top 5 or maybe even better.
Absolutely. It gives you the opportunity to learn from the people that are around you. That's all the valuable ask for.
Pace car about to make the left-hand turn. There it is. And Rachel Hunt will lead them down with Adam Newton. 2 Toyotas on the front row here at Indianapolis. Slowly down the front straightaway. And green flag is back out here at the Brickyard. And a great start by the 2 drivers on old tires.
Job there getting going the tires at all, but it doesn't matter. Chandler to the inside of Newton.
Chandler looking on the inside, already making quick work of the 20. Rachel Hunt cuts down in front. She's going to hold the bottom line. She knows what she has to do to stay here. Adam Newton a little bit loose off turn 2. Doucette going to look on the inside. And a great job by both these drivers, Chris.
Absolutely. It looked like was unable to do so. Now for the lead, Jeff Chandler underneath.
Rachel Hunt washed up the track in turn 3, couldn't get that car to settle, and Jeff Chandler, the 31, back to the point. Now Adam Newton looking underneath Rachel Hunt. Dean Doucette going to pass him on the high side, though, as they're all fanned out down the front straightaway.
Newton's having a little bit of a hard time coming off of the corner, getting a little bit loose. That checked everyone up and made the outside lane, the more preferred lane, pretty wide coming out of the corner.
That is close right there, folks. Adam Newton had Chris Stouffer and Brian Helm all over him, and that was a tight battle. Adam Newton able to get that car going, and they are stacking up behind the 20 car right now.
That they are. Now Rachel Hunt is falling back as well. Chuck Sweeney is on her inside. These old tires, Jared, this is not seems to be a call that's working for anyone so far.
Yeah, you don't want to be the quick caution that you need. You want to be you want to be a benefactor of the caution, not a driver that is the caution. But Adam Newton getting that car under control. Bill Benedict, very loose off turn 4. Slid up the track. Bobby Terrell had to get out of the gas. It's going to cost Benedict a spot there. That is a battle for 11th spot. Oh, and wrecking behind him. That's Jeff Chandler, Bernard Person, Jeff Winter, apologies. And they are still wrecking. Heavy damage to the 30 machine. And others involved. Bernard Person was the other car I saw. I saw Andrew Poliski also involved. Man, what a big wreck on the front straightaway. Let's see what happened here. So Bernard Person and Jeff Winter side by side. And oh, it looks like Winter was going underneath of Zach McDaniel as Bernard Person was going underneath him, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to get a better replay. TJ Bartel with heavy damage as well. Man, oh man.
Wow, Jared, that was a crazy wreck there. That just shows draft here on these straightaways work. That happened there. You just get momentum, able to get underneath another car, but you've got another car that has the same momentum on you.
And that's exactly what happened. Andrew Poliski, heavy damage. Ralph Nolan, TJ Bartel, Jeff Bratton with a needle thread. Unbelievable that he's able to get through. Lane Allen takes evasive action down on the bike road course there to avoid the wreck. But my goodness, Jeff Bratton. We're going to have to get on board with Jeff Bratton, as that might be the move of the race for that number 55 machine. My goodness gracious. I don't know how the heck he made it through there. Let's jump on board, see what Jeff Bratton saw. So here you go. He's behind Jason Spear. Now you see, he can't see anything going on in front of him. So he is completely blind because of the way these cars are. Now there's the wreck. He slows up. Oh, he avoids Bernard Person, does scrape the wall a little bit, and there's the hole, and he somehow gets through. Great job by Jeff Bratton to make it through that wreck.
Incredible driving there out of Jeff Bratton. It was just almost an impossible situation to go through, and he was able to do so with minimal damage.
So we look, and it looks like, oh, is Dean Doucette going to come into pit road? No, he's not. Is anybody else? Well, we know Rachel Hunt's going to come in, and Adam Newton is going to come in, and Andrew Poliski with that heavy front end damage. He's a driver right on the bubble of the playoffs, and that is not going to help him tonight. Ralph Nolan with damage, Chad Lang with damage, Mike Watts, TJ Bartel, all with significant damage on their machines, Chris.
Rough night for a couple middle of the pack there, but that's the opportunity for people. Rachel Hunt, she's going to go down and get her that set of tires that she left in the pits last time.
So Rachel Hunt, I don't know if that benefits her too much because she was running in the top 10, and she's definitely going to be outside of that, but she's going to be off sequence, and sometimes that helps. So we are now 30 laps, basically 30 laps into this 80-lap event here tonight. Jeff Chandler and Dean Doucette have been basically the guys battling. They've had to deal with some guys staying out on old tires, but so far it has worked out, and nobody's been caught up by the guys with old tires. It's been deeper in the field. First wreck was for Randy McCanny getting together with Lane Allen. The second wreck was for John Held getting together with Lane Allen. Unfortunately, Lane Allen's been kind of a pinball tonight, and it took out a couple drivers. And our third caution, if you're just now joining it, Jeff Winter and Bernard Person went for the same piece of real estate and a massive wreck on the front straightaway. It's kind of like a street course here at Indianapolis when you have a wall on the inside and a wall on the outside. Cars just kind of bounce and ricochet back and forth, and when you're in the middle of the pack or at the front of the pack, you're going to have a big wreck, Chris.
That you will, and these cars, you have to set them up so loose off of the corners at the start of these runs, especially if you ever get these long green flag runs that these drivers are hoping for.
Exactly right, but right now it's been all about Jeff Chandler and Dean Doucette. Chuck Sweeting, though, finally getting himself up into a good position. He is up several positions, up 9 positions on the night, and he could always be a factor in any race that we go to this year. We got some guys deep in the field getting some extra repairs. Darren Bruce, Ralph Nolan, Rachel Hunt, all back on pit road again.
Interesting that Rachel Hunt is back on the road, Jared, as she had just pit the last time by. A little bit of a concern. She didn't get any damage, but she may have accidentally came down pit road and didn't get tires.
Yeah, it's been a very eventful race here tonight, but we're about ready to get this going. And you bring up a good point. Rachel Hunt, a 5.1 pit stop is what it is showing on our screen. So it looks like she was just topping up on fuel there on that 16. So we'll have to keep an eye out because the Brickyard has been a fuel strategy race a lot of the time, and we might be back into that window. My projections say they can go 40 laps, and if that's the case, you're looking at about laps 70 to 75, which means it's probably going to be a fuel race tonight, Chris.
Looking at what she did right then, she just came in and topped off for fuel there, Jared.
Yeah, exactly right. So that's going to be something we'll have to keep an eye on here tonight. So thanks for that update. Jeff Chandler, Dean Doucette, Troy Torgeson, Chuck Sweeting, Chris Stouffer, Tim Bills, Helm, Hannah, Terrell, and Benedict, all your top 10. Big mover on the night right now. That's going to go to Jeff Bratton and Tony Solari, both of those drivers, up 17 positions respectively, back in 20th and 21st position.
Jared, going back green here, the first time that Chandler and Doucette have been able to be side by side for a restart here. Be interesting to see if they're able to break away from the pack that they did the last, not the one before the last, but the one before that as we're about to go green.
We're about ready to go back green there, and here we go. Chandler will lead him down, and you see the flagman on the left there, and he is holding them deep into this restart zone, and now he lets them go. That's a deep restart zone for the flagman, and we are down and away. Chandler drag racing down to turn 1 with Dean Doucette.
Completely side by side going into one. Chandler going to get a little bit of an advantage coming out of the turn, but Dean Doucette right there with him.
Darren Bruce makes a late pit stop on pit road, enters pit road there at the end. Right now, Chuck Sweeting with a good move around Troy Torgeson, move him up to third, the highest he's been. And now we have our battle on our hands. Jeff Chandler has the 29 all over his back bumper, though.
They get single file here on going through these corners, trying to lose any time on the lead pack here. That's good news for those that were in third, fourth, fifth, but bad news and Jeff Chandler.
Looking out the back end of the Frontline Esports machine, a Bruzy racewear on that car tonight, and Jeff Chandler leading the way. Dean Doucette right now right behind as we check in on board, and you see just trying to let that car float down in the corner and doing a good job of it. Looking back deeper in the fact, there's Tony Solari back here. That's a gaggle that he's coming up on. Some guys damage in front of him there in the 74 machine. But Chris, making your way back through the field, you know, I'm looking at guys like, or gals, I should say, like Rachel Hunt, freshest tires in the game right now. Chad Lang, also on some fresh tires as well. What can these guys do back here in 24th and 5th position?
At this point, everyone out here is doing whatever they can to possibly people in front of them. That's the hardest part about this track so far tonight, Jared, as these guys have just gotten so single file here. It's been hard to make up any positions.
Up front, it is Jeff Chandler. In fact, Jeff Chandler is the only driver that is in the position he started in the race. Everybody else has moved up or down significantly since the race began, but Jeff Chandler leading. He has dominated the beginning part of this race. Dean Doucette in second. Hasn't led a lap yet, but he is somebody that has been right there. As you see, Andrew Poliski, who had that heavy damage, he is just now coming out of the pits in, looks like 37th position, so tough break for him. Chuck Sweeting in third. Torgerson and Chris Stouffer, your top five. Brian Helm, a driver that's trying to get back into the points race, is in sixth place, followed by Tim Bills, Brody Hanna, Bobby Terrell, and Bill Benedict, your top 10.
We had side-by-side action in the back with Kevin Ruppert and Zach McDaniel, and Andrew Poliski in that beat-up 96 car saw what was happening and went to the access road. That's some great sportsmanship there.
And you see Andrew Poliski down on that access road. Looks like he might be coming back into the pits. Yes, he is. 96 machine back in. An unfortunate night for Andrew Poliski. Came into the points tonight in 15th, which is actually in 17th overall. 15 points outside of the top 16 in the playoffs. And unfortunately will not have a good run tonight, as he is shown in 34th, one lap down. Randy McCanny in 33rd, one lap down. 32 drivers on the lead lap here tonight. If you're just now joining us, we have lost Dale Nearad to connection issues. We have lost Donnie Staubitz and John Held to incidents. Jeff Winter to an incident. Tracy Powers is still out there. He's 6 laps down, had some connection issues earlier. Bernard Person is out of the race in 37th. And TJ Bartel on and off pit road in 36th. And we already talked about Poliski in 35th. So there you go. Up front, it's Jeff Chandler, but it is 2 Chevys chasing down that Ford, Chris.
That's right. Back in the 11th position, we have a great battle going on. Fruman going to lose the spot to Williford now. Zach McDaniel is going to try to make his way around the 00 car as well. Not able to do so as he gets the door slam, or gets the opportunity slammed on him as the 00 goes down into that lane. So he does lose it. Another side-by-side battle.
3x3. That's Wayne Grossi going on the inside of Kevin Ruppert. And Ruppert had to almost get out of the gas, decide against it. Grossi's the one that backed out there. Good racing back here. This is a battle for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and actually all the way up to 11th right now, as this group's kind of fallen back off the back end here. Wayne Grossi, and then you also have Matt Geringer, 16th, also in this group. Behind them, we have a little bit of action going on. I think that is Josh Johnson and Adam Newton. Looked like Newton got loose off turn 4, but everybody's solid getting through turn number 1 right now. Josh Johnson, if you missed it earlier, stayed out on pits, and that strategy's worked out for him because he was running back in 35th position, Chris. He's running 18th now at this point.
18th and a solid night as he's looking to do anything he can to get around Newton in that number 20 car. Newton seems to be a loose.
Yeah, and Adam Newton, another one of those drivers that stayed out on a caution on lap 23 and was able to get a pit, get down in the pits, get some new tires, and get that machine going again tonight. So he has done a good job to get that machine going in the right direction. He's also made that pit strategy work for him. 4 laps from halfway, it is still the same 3 up front. It is Chandler, Doucette, and Sweeting. Then we have Torgerson, Helm, and Stouffer. They've kind of spread themselves out. Tim Bills is chasing down Chris Stouffer in that number 13, but we have a little bit of a line forming behind the 13 machine as Bills, Terrell, Hannah, Benedict all kind of lined up behind him here. We'll continue on here. So Tim Bills looking. We got Bobby Terrell, Brody Hanna all on the back there. Brody Hanna started in 3rd position, so he's kind of dropped off. But he was looking for a solid top 10 tonight. You see Andrew Poliski back on the access road, just trying to get as many laps in as he can, and hope maybe some other drivers retire as this race goes on. But his points championship, or his points chance, has taken a huge hit tonight for his playoff hopes.
Down at this moment, not many battles going on the track.
And we look at some of these other drivers here. We look back a little bit further. Steven Vrooman is still battling with Zach McDaniel. McDaniel's going to get a look underneath going off turn number 2. So that is going to be a battle for 12th position. Now Vrooman has an outside shot to get in on points. McDaniel is just out here for some experience in that number 42 machine. He is in 42nd in points. Nothing to gain here except some good racing. Gets loose off the turn 3 short shoot and nearly into Vrooman. Great driving by Zach McDaniel coming off that turn. So it's Vrooman and now Rupert in the 1 machine looking down on the inside. And this is a big draft run. You really have to get a good run going down the straightaway. Doesn't do it. And they're going to tuck in line. This is a great battle back here for 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, and 16th. And don't look now, but Adam Newton on those fresher tires chasing down the back of this group of Matt Geringer in the 11 machine. So we're going to have some fresh tires in this group pretty soon. Just in front of him, Sherwood Williford has checked out from this little group here.
That he has, Jared, but back behind them, it looks like Kevin Rupert's going to get around Zach McDaniel in that 42 machine.
And we got Chris back. Maybe the quality not exactly the best, but it is sounding a lot better than it was earlier. So we've got those technical issues kind of resolved right now. But you're exactly right, Chris. It's gotten single file, but the battle right now is Tim Bills and Bobby Terrell. That is a battle for 8th place, right, or 7th place right now.
Terrell able to take it away from Bills on the inside there, leaving Bills out on the outside there. Brody Hanna wasn't able to close the gap. He's going to have to try to do it all on his own. Looking low on the 77, going into 3, not able to quite make it yet.
And Bill Benedict was looking to make a move with him, trying to push that forward by that Chevy, but just couldn't get it done right there. And that's the thing, Chris. You talk about this Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The key is getting off turn 2 and getting off turn 4, so you get that gigantic run down that straightaway. But how difficult is it at this track?
It's certainly difficult when you don't have a lot of help. You can see that just because Brody Hanna tried to get around Tim Bills in the 77, he lost a little bit of time. But back behind him, Bill Benedict has kind of lost the draft of these cars.
Yeah, Bill Benedict not very good through the second short shoot between 3 and 4, and he has lost some time. Behind them, Williford and Vrooman are starting to chase down this group just ever so slightly, not a lot, but they are starting to come forward just a little bit right now. But you look at Kevin Rupert, he's McDaniels, that machine has kind of gone away. But Chris, you talk about a driver that gambled on some pit strategy earlier. Adam Newton has recovered, and he's got the freshest tires.
That he has, Jared, is he's doing everything he possibly can to get up and around these cars. He's got Wayne Grossi in his front view mirror there, or front view, trying to do everything he can to close up on the back of that number 7.
And he is doing a great job, and he has come up through the field. Great run for Adam Newton in the 20 machine here tonight, and that is amazing job and very solid pitch strategy for that 20 machine. I was questioning it. I wasn't going to lie to you. I thought it was a gamble to stay out on old tires, starting to move forward. He is on the back of the 7 machine of Wayne Grossi. Kevin Rupert also in this battle as well. Up front, we're still keeping tabs on it. Jeff Chandler has opened up to about over Dean Doucette. Chuck Sweeting still right there as well. But nobody's been able to chase down Jeff Chandler as Dean Doucette kind of fallen back from Jeff Chandler right now. Some time as well. You look at those top 3. Chandler continuing to stretch out that lead. We jump on board Brian Helm. He has chased down Troy Torgerson. Now this is a huge position for Brian Helm. Brian Helm coming into the race 8 points ahead of Wayne Grossi. Doing some quick, dirty math, Wayne Grossi is in 15th position. So right now, Brian Helm would be in the playoffs. Do you think that's on his mind right now?
It certainly is on his mind. He probably has no clue about the 2 points, but he's doing everything he can to have a great race here. A little bit faster than Torgerson that last lap, all the way on his bumper, and now he's got to figure out a way to get.
And that's the difficult part at Indianapolis. The draft is just, you have to time everything right. He might have a run here. Brian Helm all over the back of Torgerson, and we look out the back end of that number. Is just decided not to make a move right now, Chris. He let off the gas.
Let off the gas. Maybe that's a little bit of a strategy play there. As he gets closer to Torgerson, he's able to save a little bit more fuel than Torgerson just because he's behind him in that draft, Jared.
Torgerson a little bit tight through turn number 3 and 4. Car going. He's going to gap just a little bit because Helm did have to come out of the gas just a little bit in that number 26 machine. But right now, Torgerson holding on to the spot up front, has finally gotten around Tim Bills. That is for 6. So Bobby Terrell, just by starting tonight's race and the fact that Richie Coy not here, he has clinched the regular season championship. So he will have those 10 bonus points heading in 1 seed. Tim Bills there in 7th. He's just trying to stay in the top 25 points to guarantee his spot. He's pretty much got that locked in at this point with a 30-point lead over 26th position. But you never know what could happen. Chris Stouffer out here for experience, just making his first Cup start. He's raced a lot of truck races and Xfinity races here at Full Throttle Sim Racing. But he is just out here trying to get some experience at a track that he loves. Brody Hanna in 9th. But don't look now. Steven Vrooman has brought that 00 car up into the top 10. He's battling Bill Benedict. That car was about 4 seconds behind this battle, and he's caught up to him.
That he has, and not only that, Jared, but the last couple of laps, he was 4, 3, and 5 tenths faster than the cars he's battling with.
Steven Vrooman, unfortunately, is going to not be able to point his way in at this point. Needs a win to get himself in the playoffs, sitting back there in 22nd position. A little less than 100 points behind, 97 points behind Brian Helm, and 105 points behind Wayne Grossi. So he'd need a win to get in, but still, nonetheless, a great showing by the number 00 here. Every time I see 00, I think of Buckshot Jones. I can't think of anybody else that ran 00. I guess Quinn Huff runs it now, but I still think of Buckshot Jones.
Yeah, thinking about Buckshot's a little bit better than Huff in that 00 car. A car that seems to be struggling really bad at this point in the race is Brody Hanna in that 23 machine. Vrooman is closing up pretty quickly. The only lap that he was not faster than Hanna was the lap that he was working his way around. I believe that was Bill Benedict. So he is on a tear trying to catch up to Hanna. Hanna just, the handling seems to be falling off as he's getting really tight coming out of the corners.
Brody Hanna. Let's bring up the battle box. Let's show you guys what's going on between these two drivers right now as we look at it. And you look, Brody Hanna there in this little bit of a group here. It's about a half a second now between Hanna and Vrooman. We'll take a look at the time dashboard as well. And apologies about that. And you see there, Vrooman has cut that gap down. It was as high as 1 second. Now it's down to, like we said, a half a second. We'll see what it is across the line here. It looks 6 tenths. Yeah, it's going to be 0.591. So Vrooman is coming in the 00. Oh, we got a wreck. It's the leaders. It's Sweeting and Dean Doucette. And they're hard on the wall. Dean Doucette and Chuck Sweeting have got together, second and third place. That's going to be our fourth caution of the race.
And Jared, this all has to come what these cars do handling-wise. Dean Doucette just a little bit tight, caught the wall, and that's what threw him into Chuck Sweeting.
Let's take a look here. So, these guys had started to fall off Jeff Chandler quite a bit. Jeff Chandler had stretched his legs, and I think Chuck Sweeting, and you see through turn 2, just hits the wall, and we'll have to get a better replay of that. Nothing. Hard impact for Chuck Sweeting. I think Dean Doucette had a pretty light impact, and both these drivers very thankful that they weren't closer to other drivers. Let's see if we can get a better angle of this accident. So here we go. Dean Doucette through the first short chute. This is through turn number 1. Comes up, hits the wall, and Chuck Sweeting just nowhere really he could go. And hard impact for Chuck Sweeting as he comes back across the track and luckily kind of gets stuck in the wall and everybody's able to get around him. But the second and third place drivers are gone, Chris.
This changes everything up in this top 5 positions here. Great job by the field to get around these two drivers and avoiding any more calamity here.
And this sets up everything pretty perfectly for Brian Helm. He's a driver that hasn't won yet this year. A win would guarantee his playoff position. Right now he was coming into this race 8 points outside the playoffs behind Wayne Grassi. And boy, a win he wouldn't even have to care about points going into the next 2 races at Michigan and Daytona if he can somehow pull this thing off. He's been as fast as Jeff Chandler, but he hasn't had the track position. Here we go. Pits are opened. We haven't seen anybody. This has been a 26 lap green flag run, our longest one of the night, and everybody coming down pit road, it looks like, Chris.
That they are. They're going to be wanting these fresh tires here, just so that way they're not near as tight. It was interesting to see throughout the field. Some guys were getting tighter. A lot of guys were getting loose. A little bit of different strategy by everyone on these cars, but now everyone's going to be on the same strategy as we're going to have everyone come down here. And this, Jared, takes fuel mileage out of the question.
Yeah, it does. I think it's going to take it out of the question. You're exactly right. There are some drivers going to stay out on this caution. We'll catch up with them in a second. I believe they're all lap-down drivers trying to get some laps back here or not able to pit. Bobby Terrell down and away already. Very good stop for the 5 car. He is going to beat Brian Helm off pit road. Jeff Chandler does manage to hold it off, but Bobby Terrell with the pit stop of the night, he goes from 5th place to 2nd. So there we go. What a pit stop by Bobby Terrell there tonight. I mean, it was a 49.9 pit road entry, but he had a 1 second better pit time. 1 second better than Brian Helm, and that's what cost him. Brian Helm did not get in pits, had to back up. Troy Torgerson, a very slow stop at 16 seconds. He's going to lose 2 spots. The second best pit stop was Jeff Chandler, followed by Tim Bills. So great pit stops for these drivers, Chris.
That it was, and we talk about mistakes all the time, Jared. Brian Helm just overshot just a little bit to make it to where he had to go back a little bit to get into his stall for service. That's going to cost him the position. Luckily for him, not more than just one.
Now, Chris, I have to ask this question. Does this benefit Brian Helm because now he doesn't have to start on the outside?
You know, looking at our last couple guys are going to be able to be a little bit better here on the inside, and if they're able to follow Chandler through into turn 1, that's going to be an advantage for Helm. Maybe able to get that spot back. But you know that Terrell in that 5, he's not going to
taking the wave around. That is, let's see, that is Bernard Person, Tracy Powers, and Darren Bruce are taking the wave around right now as we speak, so they will get themselves a lap back. Tracy Powers had that connection issue earlier, so he's out here just trying to pick up some points, stay in the top 25 in points week's race. Bernard Person with that heavy damage earlier between him and Jeff Winter making contact. He is in the playoffs, but he doesn't want to lose any positions that he doesn't have to, obviously. TJ Bartel was the lucky dog. He does have significant damage, however, on that 88. But he is back on the lead lap. Chuck Sweeting has pulled that car to the garage. He is out of the race. Tony Solari is in 33rd, and he is the first car 1 lap down right now. And Dean Doucette, Chris, he's come out of the pits. He's going to be 29th, but that car doesn't look too bad.
No, it doesn't look too bad at all, Jared. You mentioned that he got a little bit of a lighter impact than Chuck Sweeting on that inside wall. And that's really played out to his advantage. But beyond that, he was also pointed in the correct direction pretty much when he came to a stop. So he was able to get that car going and not have to worry about losing a lap or anything like that. And was able to kind of just ride around to be able to get back to the pits to get as much of that damage done. But up front, Jared, it's going to be really different up front now that we have Jeff Chandler here going to lead them to the green, but now he's got Bobby Terrell to his outside.
So it's going to be Jeff Chandler leading them down. Bobby Terrell on the outside. Green flag back out here in Indianapolis, and Jeff Chandler with a great restart. Bobby Terrell a little bit slow on the gun. Terrell tries to chuck down in front of Helm. Helm's going to left to let him go. And now Tim Bills, little contact back in the further of the pack. That's Adam Newton down on the grass.
You can definitely tell that this race is amping up as these drivers now are doing everything they possibly can to get positions here in a hurry, going all the way down to the apron basically to get around Torgerson back there in the back.
Torgerson with not a great restart, 3 wide. Vrooman coming through. We saw him with some long run speed in that 00. He is making a big move right now, but right now it is all Jeff Chandler out front. Brian Helm has cleared Bobby Terrell. Terrell now has Tim Bills on his back bumper and Brody Hanna as well. We had just a little bit of a lag issue there for a second. I apologize. Not entirely sure it happened, but that was on my side. I think we are stabilized now. On board Tim Bills, and Tim Bills had to let off the gas just a little bit as Bobby Terrell just not getting that car to handle as well as I think he wants to.
No, he isn't. It looks like he's got that thing a little bit loose on the beginning of this run, but look what it has done. It has given Chandler and Helm the ability to drive away from this 5-car who has pretty much all the way back through 13th now behind him looking to get around.
It is nose to tail, and Chris Stouffer is going to look underneath Brody Hanna. That's a battle for 5th. Stouffer underneath Brody Hanna. Hanna up the track just a little bit. Now Vrooman opening the door. He is going to move to 5th place. Torgerson also there as well. Hanna just barely got out of the groove, and now the door is opened up. Benedict going to push the... Go ahead, Chris. Sorry.
Tim Bills now looking to the inside of the number 5 machine as he's trying to get around, try to get up into this 3rd position and try to make up time on Brian Helm. Easily able to do it. Oh, contact behind him. Torgerson in the grass.
Torgerson holds on to that machine, and somehow we stay green, and nobody's wrecked. Holy cow.
What an incredible bit of driving there by Torgerson in that 98 machine, able to get back in line here, but he's got some significant damage to the back of that machine. Going to make it very hard aerodynamically to stay with the people in front of him.
Unbelievable. Zach Daniel also involved in this little incident, but they're going. But this has opened up the door. All that little battling, Chris, Jeff Chandler, and Brian Helm have stepped away.
Stepped away big time. Chandler now has his biggest lead pretty much of the night on Brian Helm, but don't get Brian Helm out of this yet because he is closing his way inch by inch to Chandler.
These guys in this second group, Bills, Stouffer, Terrell, and Vrooman, and then also Brody Hanna at the tail end of this group as well. Benedict in 9th, 8th, followed by Williford and Torgerson, your top 10. And man, oh man, these guys racing like it's the last lap. But 25 laps to go, Chris. That'll do it for you.
That it will. And these drivers are doing everything they can, Jared, to make up positions. Just looking at the lap times, lap 52, Tim Bills was half a second slower than Brian Helm because of the battle with Bobby Terrell and that number 5 machine. Coming to the line here, we'll have to double check and see what the times are now if they've equalized here. That is a huge gap to be making up, and no, still 3/10 slower than our top 2.
And you see that right there on the time delta. That first lap is the pace lap, but after that you can see Brian Helm able to kind of pull away from Tim Bills there. You look at the difference between Bills and Helm and Chandler, and that gap pretty much stabilized at about half a second, Chris.
That it is, but Helm is going to do everything he can. He knows that critical win there would help him in his playoff race. So do it the easy way, not just the hard way on points.
Wanted to check in on the 29 machine of Dean Doucette, who was involved in that unfortunate issue with Chuck Sweeting in the 75. He is moving forward, but Chris, that car is definitely down on power. Didn't hit the wall too hard, but he has moved up only 4 positions, chasing down right now Gil Gawk in the 85. Just got around Jeff Bratton. And Dean Doucette's, I think, chance at victory is probably over at this point back in 24th. We got a car jumping in and out. That is James Torr with some connection issues. Having a lot of connection issues throughout the race tonight. We've seen several drivers lose connection or drop out completely so far in this race.
That we have. Looking back up here, Brian Helm now has a pretty substantial gap back to Tim Bills. Bills in that 77, they just are so far back, Jared. They're going to need a caution or something dramatic to happen with these 2 up front to be able to be up here at the end here now with going on 23 laps to go.
23 laps to go. Now, Chris, you're Brian Helm. Brian Helm is a great driver, one of the best in this series. He has come close to winning back at Darlington. Troy Torgerson nipped him at the end there, got his win. That's Troy Torgerson's only win of the year. That pushed his playoff ticket. Brian Helm finished second the following week at Dover, and then he's kind of gone through an up and down spell since that point. How hard do you drive if you're Brian Helm, knowing that your playoff ticket is 0.6 of a second ahead of you?
Honestly, Jared, it's hard to drive that much harder than you already are if you're at this track. You're pretty much wide open most of the time around this track, so it's hard to really do anything other than try to stay in the wake of that 31 machine. You know that Jeff Chandler isn't actually racing for playoffs here, so this is all for fun for the 31 machine, but you are right there on the edge of being in the playoffs and being a real contender here. Do everything you can to get this number 26 machine up there battling with the 31.
Brian Helm, 0.6. That gap's kind of fluctuated between 0.6 and 0.7. Oh, loose off turn 2. That car was yawed out. Dirt tracking through the short chute there. Brian Helm losing a little bit of time because of that. But you have a great point. Randall Ballard on pit road from 30th place. Don't see any damage on that 56 machine, but he is on pit road. Looking further back, look at this chain of cars. Tim Bills to Bill Benedict. So 3rd place all the way back to 8th place, or 9th place now, sure, Williford and Troy Torgerson have caught back up. So 8 cars all in a little bit of a group here, Chris.
That they are. At some point, Birdie Hannon touches the wall coming out of the corner.
Holds on to the machine, though, no damage, and keeps going.
These cars are starting to get a little bit tight, just like we saw on that last run. We saw different cars becoming loose and tight as the longer we were on this run. And now up front, Brian Helm has lost almost a half a second in 2 laps on Jeff Chandler just from overdriving the corner. He missed his groove just a little bit, Jared, and slid up and had to get out of it. And as you said, got completely sideways coming out of the corner. He's now fallen to a 1.5 seconds behind Chandler.
1.5 seconds now, Jeff Chandler to Brian Helm. Brian Helm, they have about 3 seconds, right at 3 seconds over Tim Bills and Chris Stouffer. We jump on board Stouffer. That is a very chrome car, as everything is reflecting off that machine here. But Stouffer in 4th place in his debut Cup Series race. Bobby Terrell in 5th. Stephen Vroom, another driver that needs to win to get in. He's in 6th. Hanna, Benedict, Torgerson, and now Zach McDaniel starting to catch this group, as well as Adam Newton. And you look at the top left moniker, it says 20 to go, but 20 to go at Indianapolis is like 50 to go at Dover. It's like 75 to go at Martinsville. So, and Fruman loose through the short chute, holds on to that 00, but Chris, still a long way to go in this race. Maybe a pit stop too.
Definitely a long way to go here.
Okay, we have lost Chris again, it looks like. Chris, you got us?
I'm still here.
Alrighty, that was a very loud screeching noise that came from you, so we're good.
Apologies for that for everyone watching back home, as now just catching up through this field. Tim Bills, they're starting to close the gap on Brian Helm.
Brian Helm, that car is maybe, Chris, he's pushed it a little bit too hard. Let's take a look at the time delta, and you'll see it there between him and Chandler. That gap's gone from 0.5 seconds to 2.2 in. Let's look behind, out the back, and you'll see it. That gap has come down from 3 seconds to 2.6, so not a lot between Helm and Bills, but Bills is making a little bit of a gain on the 26 machine.
And it actually looks like Brian Helm got a little bit of loose again in a corner and lost a little bit more time, and that's why it looks like Tim Bills and them are catching, but now times have started to stabilize.
You look at this second pack, Bills all the way back to Zach McDaniel, and now Adam Newton has joined the fray. These guys are 5 seconds behind Jeff Chandler. Let's bring up the track map, give you an idea of what's going on around this track. So there's Jeff Chandler. He is at the bottom of your screen, heading into turn 1, your bottom right side of the track. There's your first place. 31st place is 1 lap down. He is halfway down the back straightaway. 29th is the last car on the lead lap. He is going in turn number 3 right now. But most of these cars, Chris, are in turn 1 and 2 at this point in time in the race.
That they are, and even though it seems like this race is coming to a close here with 18 laps to go, there could still be a pretty big substantial change in the top two, or not the top two, but the second and third positions here, as Tim Bills is not pulling too far away from Stouffer, but it looks like Stouffer in that number 13 machine is kind of getting a little bit tight on the exit there, and he's got Bobby Terrell all over his bumper.
On board the None of Your Beeswax Apiary 00 machine, and you see Stephen Vroom, and he has nowhere to go right now. He is just waiting for Bobby Terrell to make a move on Stouffer, and Stephen Vroom doing a great job in that number 00, and would be what his, I think, best Cup Series finish this year. He had a great run at Indianapolis in the Xfinity Series here, so I expect him to back that thing up, and he is doing a great job here tonight, looking for maybe his first top 5 of the year and of his career. So Stephen Vrooman, got to watch for him as he is trying to chase down Bobby Terrell and Chris Stouffer. Behind them, we have a little bit of a battle. Williford going to look on the inside of Bill Benedict down the back straightaway.
That he is. He's going to get past Bill Benedict pretty easily, and Troy Torgerson is trying to follow in the wake, not able to do so, as he was able to close up to Bill Benedict, but not able to put a bumper to the inside of that car. As up in front, now Bobby Terrell is getting around Stouffer in that 13.
Chris Stouffer very loose through the short chute, and everybody's stacked up behind him. Chris Stouffer stacks up Vrooman, and that's going to allow Brody Hannon to look on the inside of him.
Brody Hanna on the inside there, not able to get the power out of the corner. Vrooman going to be able to hold off that position and be able to gather it back up. Now he would look to do everything he can to get around the 13, and now the 23 is under attack from the 33.
I don't think you could put a piece of paper between those drivers going through that short chute. Vrooman was able to get the power down and kind of separate from Brody Hanna. Now Brody Hanna's under heat from Sher Williford and Bill Benedict. All these drivers back through here, Benedict, Williford, and Vrooman all would have to win a race to get into the playoffs. Brody Hanna loose off turn 3, holds that car down. Vrooman a little loose through turn 4.
Definitely a little bit loose. He was fighting for that car, trying to keep the handle on that thing. That gave Stouffer in the 13 a little bit of a room to gather it back up, and now he's back to the bumper of Bobby Terrell in the 5.
And sure, Williford underneath Brody Hanna. This is the battle on the track. Jeff Chandler has opened the gap to 3.5 seconds in the number 31 machine. So that is not much of a battle right now. Williford going to look underneath Brody Hanna, and he is going to try to take over the 7th spot. But now Bill Benedict going to shove Williford down around Brody Hanna. And you see what 2 cars can do. Hanna a sitting duck at that point.
Hanna definitely left out on that outside. He loses not 1, but 2 positions. Able to get in front of Troy Torgerson in that 98 and able to keep going, but loses 2 spots in 1 corner, Jared.
We look back at these other guys. Adam Newton having a career night here in the number 20. Played a pit strategy game earlier. And we got some blocking going on. Brody Hanna throws a big block on Troy Torgerson, and now he's cut back in the inside. Heavy blocking by the number 23 machine.
23 got a little bit loose coming out of the corner, had to get out of it, and when he did, Troy Torgerson was right there trying to do everything he possibly can to get around Hanna. Hanna being aggressive with a block here, trying to maintain that 9th position.
14 to go. Bernard Person involved in an earlier accident. He has blown up and taken his vehicle to the garage. Tracy Powers, who has been trying to get some laps back to gain positions, he's on pit road for a scheduled stop. He's in 32nd position for those that might be interested in what those guys are doing back there. But right now up front, it's Jeff Chandler in the number 31, a Bruzy Frontline Esports machine, and he is starting to step away 4 seconds over Brian Helm in the number 26. Then we have the Wheelin' and Dealin' Tim Bill's entry with H&H Supply and Signs there in the 77 in 3rd place. Bobby Terrell holding on to 4th. Chris Stouffer 5th. Vrooman in 6th. Williford now up to 7th, followed by Benedict, Hanna, and Troy Torgerson still putting Hanna under pressure.
What a great night by Sherwood Williford. He is up 20 spots on his qualifying start. Started back in 27th, now all the way up to 7th. What a great night for that machine.
And that is what I would call a hard day's work for Sherwood Williford, as he has moved up 20 positions, as Chris alluded to. Another driver moving up 20 positions is Mike Watts. He's under heat from Rachel Hunt, or actually he's putting heat on Rachel Hunt, apologies, and now he's going to lose that spot. So he was up 20 positions, now he's down up only 19 as Mayhew goes around him as well. And now Kevin Rupert on the back bumper. We got some great battling all throughout the pack. This is inside the top 15. We also have Josh Johnson, who made a gamble earlier, Chris. His debut race, he's doing a great job. up in 16th position in that number 05 machine labeled as 57.
A lot of drivers doing the best that they can to make up as much positions as they can here, and everyone from second on back is hoping for another chance to catch Chandler, hoping for a caution, and hoping not to be the caution.
And two drivers in this group that I want to focus on. Kenneth Schultz, he is currently 26th in points, and he is only 4 points outside the top 25. Why is that crucial? The top 25 are guaranteed a spot in the race the next week. So right now, Tracy Powers being out of the race back in 33rd position, Kenneth Schultz would move back into the top 25 unofficially. The other battle is Wayne Grossi. Now, he came into tonight 8 points ahead of Brian Helm on points, the last driver in the playoffs. Brian Helm in second position. That's a 17-point turnaround, so that is 9 points that Brian Helm will be ahead of Wayne Grossi coming out tonight. So not a great race for Wayne Grossi. Kind of puts him on the back foot tonight, Chris.
That it is, but right now he's doing everything he can to get around Joshua Johnson in that number 05 machine, and he catches the wall coming out of 4. Now has the opportunity. Wayne Grossi going to try to do whatever he can to get this position to close that gap on Brian Helm in the point.
Yeah, Brian Helm right now. Oh, Wayne Grossi loose off turn 2, has to hold it down. He still has a good run on Josh Johnson. Going to get down there, use a little side draft, pull alongside the 57 labeled as the 05 down the back straightaway. And Wayne Grossi is going to be able to make that move, so that puts him up one more position, and that puts him 8 points behind Brian Helm now.
Trying to make it equal to what the point standings were coming into this race here, doing everything he possibly can to not lose too much ground here to Brian Helm, hoping that he'll have an opportunity to get around Kevin Rupert and the one right in front of him.
And Kenneth Schultz is the teammate. Yeah, Kenneth Schultz is the teammate to Kevin Rupert. So they're running 16th and 17th. Dean Doucette, with that damage earlier, he has made his way to 20th position, so not the night that I'm sure Dean wanted to have. Jason Spear, these guys both locked into the playoffs. Nothing that really major going on there. Jason Spear in 21st. Matt Geringer was up in the top 10 at one point in time. He's kind of faded back. And we got all kinds of action going on in the middle of this field as Bill Benedict trying to look underneath Brody Hanna. Hanna couldn't do it. Or Benedict couldn't do it.
Right behind them, Matt Newton in that 20 car gets really loose coming out in the middle of the corner. Troy Torgerson now all over his bumper.
And Adam Newton had already made the pass on Torgerson, so put Adam Newton up into the top 10. This would be his first top 10 of the season if he's able to hold on to that position in the number 20 machine. So great job for Adam Newton. Troy Torgerson, that car looks to be fading just a little bit. Rachel Hunt on some fresher tires. What can she do here? Actually, no, she pitted on 49 with everybody else. So she is in 13th position. Haven't talked a lot about her. She's kind of been in no man's land since that restart. Josh Mayu in 14th having a great race. Also the kind of same kind of situation for that 02 machine. Haven't had a chance to talk about him because he's kind of been by himself most of the night, but a solid run for Josh Mayu. Back up front, it's Jeff Chandler. That gap is now 5.5 seconds as he continues to just pull ahead. Under 10 laps to go. Make that 8 laps to go when he touches the bricks.
No one in his rear mirror at this point. Jeff Chandler has to do everything he can to just maintain his pace. He doesn't have to put down hot laps here, Jared. With 8 laps to go, he just needs to be able to be consistent and still manage the gap between him and Helm. And you can kind of see it as it's staying roughly right around 5.8 seconds.
Yeah, exactly right, Chris. And it is going to be all Jeff Chandler at this point in time unless something happens here late in this race. We look at the other races going on. Tim Bills breaking the draft down the back straightaway. There is a line of cars from about 3rd place all the way back to 20th that are all on the back straightaway at one point in time. So that's how tight it is back further. These guys are not catching Brian Helm or not catching him very quickly at this point in time. About 3.5 seconds between Bills and Helm right now. Terrell in 4th. As we said earlier, he'll clinch the regular season championship by now Troy Torgerson and Richie Coy having Richie Coy not being here. Troy Torgerson back in 11th place at this point. Bobby Terrell will be the official regular season champion in that number 5 machine. And Chris Stouffer having a good night on debut in 5th place. at Indianapolis, as we've seen so many people out in the chat. Thank you so much. We had Chuck Sweeting check in after his accident. We had Pepto Joe Flanagan out there. He's rooting on Chris Stouffer, who is an IndyCar driver, as we talked about earlier. We got Doyle Lawrence, as always, out there rooting on the Frontline Esports guys, and Jeff Chandler. And it's been a great night to converse with you guys. 7 laps to go here. Chris, what can you do if you're Brian Helm? Is there anything you can do?
I think at this point, Jared, the only thing you can do is hope for a caution as he's continuing to lose time to Chandler. Now that gap is 6.6 seconds. So a lot of ground between Chandler and Helm. You need a caution here. Brian Helm may have just driven it too hard early on, trying to get around Chandler. Now he's not able to keep up with him.
Battle for the podium spot is still heated up. Tim Bills and Bobby Terrell, they pulled ahead of Chris Stouffer in 5th place. So that is, it's going to be settled between these two drivers for the final podium spot. Bills is having to break the draft down the straightaways. That car is very loose coming out of the corners. Bobby Terrell trying to find an opportunity to pounce, but just hasn't been able to yet.
Back behind them in 6th position, Vrooman trying to hold off Sherwood Williford. Williford seems to have the better car, but just not able to get around the 00 car as of yet. Now the 00 closes up to the 13 of Chris Stouffer, trying to take 5th away.
Chris Stouffer doing a good job trying to hold on to that 5th position, but Steven Vrooman is all over the back. So we got 2 battles. The battle for 3rd, that's kind of calmed down. The battle for 5th has heated up as we have a 3-car battle, 5 laps to go at Indy.
Vrooman going to look to the end, or look to have to block off Williford as Williford tried to go underneath him. Now he is trying to get underneath the 13. This is an incredible battle here for 5th.
Back behind them, Brody Hanna has still got Bill Benedict on the back bumper. With them battling, they have allowed Adam Newton to catch back up to this group. So Adam Newton is on the back. We have another kind of a good battle going on for 8th place. Hanna, Benedict, and Newton in that group. Then we have a little bit of a battle going on back here, a little bit deeper with Zach McDaniel and Mike Watts, Kevin Rupert, and Wayne Grossi there. That's 14th through 17th. But right now we're focusing on that top 5 battle. Chris Stouffer seems to leg it out just a little bit through that second half of the track.
It seems like every time that the 00 gets a run on Stouffer, he has to get out of it because he gets loose coming out of the corner, Jared. And that allows Sherwood Williford to be right on his back bumper. So then they have to calm back down and try to get the momentum back up to catch up to the 13 machine. Just not quite able to get around him. May have a little bit better car, but that doesn't mean you can get around.
Bill Benedict tried to make a move on Brody Hanna going into 1. It didn't work. They slid up, and now it might cost him a spot as Adam Newton is all over the back of the 90 machine coming down the back straightaway. Torgeson's been able to reel this group back in. He had dropped off over a second. Now he's back on the back bumper. Newton can't make a move right now, but this is the battle for basically the back half of the top 10, 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th, all right here. 28 drivers remain on the lead lap at Indy.
Williford's going to do it the hard way, go on the outside of the 00 machine to get that 6th position. Now he's going to set his sights on the 13th for 5th.
Good move by Sherwood Williford as that was going on. Adam Newton got loose off turn 4, but he was able to hold on to it. But good move by Sherwood Williford to get around Steven Vrooman. That was a battle for 6th. Now can Williford grab a top 5? It is 3 laps to go. And it's all Jeff Chandler. He has opened up. If you don't notice it, it's almost 8 seconds now. 7 and a quarter right now over Brian Helm. Brian Helm 3 seconds ahead of Tim Bills. So not much in terms of racing between those positions right now.
And Jared, this battle here for the top 5 is heating up again as Vrooman is now doing everything he can to get back up to the 33 and try to get around him. These 3 drivers just can't seem to get away from each other.
And this is kind of allowing Brody Hanna and Bill Benedict to catch back up. Adam Newton slid off turn 4. That's cost him some time. It looked like he was going to be able to pounce on Bill Benedict for 9th, but now it's kind of died off. But right now, Chris Stouffer doing everything he can to hold on to top 5. 2 laps to go for Jeff Chandler up front. Still focusing on this battle.
For Chandler and no one and his sides, Brian Helm now 2 1/4 seconds back, but the battle here for 5th position, as you can see the 13 going every which way on the straightaways to try to break up the groove here, and up ahead of them, Tim Bills and Bobby Terrell have a battle going on.
Oh, and Tim Bill's loose off the turn. We caught that right at the edge there. And Tim Bill's trying to do everything he can. White flag for Jeff Chandler as he takes that across the bricks. Brian Helm, second place. So the next flag will end it. Tim Bill is going to block down the straightaway. And Bobby Terrell's going to have to pass him on the outside if he's going to do it.
Tim Bills went extremely high through that corner. You can see that now that's going to give the 5 a little bit of a run going into turn number 2. Now shutting the door, the 77 machine doing everything he can to hold on to that podium, Jared.
Jeff Chandler is going to make his way through the second half of the track. Going through turn number 3, he's got Tony Solari a little bit off pace and damaged in front of him. That won't be any effect for Jeff Chandler. Coming off turn number 4 to become the 3rd different winner at the Brickyard in FTSR history, Jeff Chandler is going to win. And I might have been a little bit premature. Thought he was a little bit further down the track, but there it is. Checker flag out for Jeff Chandler, and he's going to grab his 4th victory on the year and his first at Indianapolis here at FTSR. Let's look back. Brian Helm will grab 2nd.
And all side by side for 5th here, as it looks like Sherwood Williford is going to beat Christopherson in the 13 to the line. They were almost 3 wide coming through the corner, Jared.
And we barely caught the end of the battle between Tim Bills and Bobby Terrell. We'll have to get a replay of all those excellent passes at the end of this race. Holy cow, I think Bobby Terrell did nudge Tim Bills for 3rd place unofficially.
What an incredible finish here for all of these different positions on the racetrack, Jared. Hard to keep up. There was so much excitement going on.
Let's take a look at that replay. Bobby Terrell and Tim Bills. So Tim Bills coming down the straightaway here. And something must... Oh, he got loose. He got really loose coming through the short chute there. And here we go. Bobby Terrell's all over the back bumper of him. And this is going to be a brilliant drag race down the front straightaway. Tim Bill's loose off turn 4. He has to block. He has to block all the way down. No contact between the two. And this is as close as you can get. Let's see it at the line. Yeah, it's Bobby Terrell by a nose.
Bobby Terrell heads up driving in that number 5 machine to bring home the 3rd position, Jared. Just able to take advantage of that little bit of a slip up there by the 77.
Let's take a look at the replay for the battle for 5th. Chris Stouffer on the high side. And sure, Williford looks underneath in turn 3. Going through the short chute, Chris Stouffer does a great job side by side with Williford, and he's able to actually kind of maintain. That's the first time we've seen somebody on the outside maintain through that corner. 3 wide as Vrooman sticks his nose underneath of there. They're side by side coming off the corner, and Vrooman tries to go where nobody else is, but instead helps Sure Williford down the edge, and Williford's going to grab it by just the note, probably about half a car length at that point. What a move by Sure Williford.
What an incredible finish for these positions. Unfortunately, it was behind Jeff Chandler as he walked away from the rest of the field here tonight. But still, great battles all over the track.
Sure was. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Jeff Chandler, Brian Helm, and Bobby Terrell here tonight and wrap up your action from Brickyard and set the stage for next week at Michigan. All right, we are back live here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where Jeff Chandler grabs his 4th victory of the year, holding up Brian Helm, and Bobby Terrell nips Tim Bills at the line to grab 3rd place.
Jared, our top 3 contenders here tonight, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, all 3 manufacturers taking home a podium finish tonight.
So let's take a look at those race results real quick here and show you guys how this race finished out for all your favorite drivers here tonight at the Brickyard. You see Jeff Chandler on the top there. Jeff Chandler winning by 6.7 seconds over Brian Helm. Terrell and Bills, Williford your top 5. Stouffer, Vrooman, Benedict, Hanna, and Newton grabbing his first top 10 of the season, Chris. You look back a little bit further, Wayne Grossi did great on damage control, finishing in 14th, minimizing the damage done by Brian Helm. Only a 4-point difference between those 2 drivers now.
Definitely a tight battle there for those point positions now going on. And really, Jared, this makes everything that much heated going into these last few races, heading to Michigan next week, where drafting can be an incredible tool to use there. And then Daytona after that.
Daytona following Michigan. Going to be interesting to see how this ends. Dean Doucette involved in an accident earlier. He's going to recover for 21st position, just ahead of Matt Geringer and Chad Lang. Jeff Bratton will be the final car on the lead lap in 28th, just ahead of Ralph Nolan, who finished 1 lap down. Tony Solari 2 laps down. We look back even further, and you see some drivers involved in some wrecks here. Dale Nerad, who barely got going tonight with some internet issues there for the 0-3. He only completed 20 laps before he was disconnected. Donnie Staubitz involved in the first wreck of the night. John Held also involved. Jeff Winter with heavy damage in the 3rd wreck. Andrew Politsky caught up in that. Randy McCanny heavy damage on the 27th. So tough night for Frontline Esports otherwise, besides Jeff Chandler. Bernard Person's engine blew. 33 drivers finished the Ritz tonight at Indianapolis. Let's take a look at the point standings coming out of the race here tonight. And Chris, it's going to be tightened up as we take a look at Brian Helm moves ahead of Wayne Grossi by 4 points.
4 points after trailing by 8 coming into this event. If you don't know how tight these drivers are focused on this playoff, you just have to look at the 2nd place finisher, Brian Helm, doing everything he can, just one place short of securing a playoff spot.
And at the same time, Lane Allen with a kind of a dismal night as he finished back in 20th position, or 19th, or 23rd position, apologies. He is only 5 points ahead of Brian Helm for that final playoff spot. Casey Mullen not quite going to clinch his playoff berth on points here tonight, but should do it next week. You look at Bill Benedict and Andrew Politsky, they have fallen off the back a little bit. They're going to need a lot of help going into Michigan and Daytona if they're going to make the playoffs. All right, well, that's going to do it for that. Let's get down to our pre-race, our post-race interviews here tonight. And the first guy up on our docket is Mr. Bobby Terrell here tonight. And Bobby Terrell, who has clinched the regular season championship here in the Full Throttle Sim Racing Darkmatter Designs Cup Series. Bobby, congratulations. But, man, coming out of turn 3, I didn't think I was going to be talking to you tonight, but you nipped Tim Bills right at the line.
Yeah, I had been trying to set him up several laps, and I finally got a run off that corner and just got a run on him. I knew he would try to block me, but I got a good enough run that I got under him enough.
Well, you started out back in 15th position tonight, and this is a tough track to pass on. How did your night go? Because you were in the battles all night. You were in the trenches all night long in that 5 machine. Yeah,
there was a lot of battles out there. I just took my time. A lot of drivers, like I said, gave me some room. There was some give and take out there, and I gave some drivers, the same thing. But like I said, I just needed a long run to get up there, and that we had one, and then different pit sequence, and it kind of helped me get up there. And I didn't have the speed that Jeff had or Brian had probably. I think I could have got to Brian later in the run maybe, but like I said, the way my set was, it needed a little time to get going, and then I could start picking them off.
Well, let's talk about that final pit stop, Bobby. You came on pit road in 5th position, but you came off pit road in 2nd place. Talk about how much that pit crew got you on off pit road. You had the fastest pit stop of the night there on lap 49.
Yeah, it was so funny because I really thought I overshot it, but it stopped right on the dime, with the plate, and it was a fast pit stop, and it got me out in 2nd. Didn't do me any good because, like I said, I didn't have that short run speed, and they were able to easily pass me. But I was able to get, most of them back.
Well, you clinched the regular season championship for the Cup Series, Bobby. You're heading into Michigan next week, Daytona, the final race. Is there anything you're going to do differently? I mean, you've been in the point lead for 11 weeks now. I had to look in my notes. 11 weeks straight now. Anything different that 5 teams going to do, or Wayne Grossi Racing going into these last 2 regular season events?
No, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. I mean, I've been on such an emotional roller coaster the last 2 weeks, so it's been a little rough.
Well, Bobby, we're glad to have you back out here, man, and we're always pulling for you, and thoughts and prayers for sure are sent out your way. But Bobby, congratulations on the regular season championship. Congratulations on 3rd place tonight. I'm going to turn the floor over to you and let you have the last word.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for everything that y'all do in the booth. All the admins, Brody for running the league, and you for helping out so much, and then all the other admins. I know Randy's in there now, and a few other guys I don't know. But shout out to those guys, and Darkmatter Designs for sponsoring the series. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have a series. And then what you guys do in the booth, the broadcast every week. And then a shout out to my team for building me a setup. I haven't turned many laps at all, and they've been bringing me setups, that were capable of running up there. So a shout out to those guys for pulling my weight.
Well, there you have it, Chris. Bobby Terrell with a solid 3rd place race tonight, and I believe you've caught up with our 2nd place finisher, Brian Helm, who came up 1 place short tonight of maybe clinching a playoff berth.
Yeah, I was
certainly
trying.
have Brian Helm. You came into this race with 8 points between you and that last playoff berth. Leaving here tonight, you're going to end up 4 points ahead. Were you thinking about that at all coming into this race?
I was in the back of my mind, but I figured punching a ticket would be the right thing to do. But Jeff was just, wow, he was fast. I mean, I tried to hang with him on that last restart, and I could hang for a while. I was better in the corners. He was better on the straightaways, and just straightaways won out.
We saw earlier on an incident between the 2 battling for 2nd place. That gave you that caution to be able to catch back up to Chandler. What was it that you needed to do with this 26 machine just to be able to be there at the end?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was really pretty good. I mean, Jeff had to have a fantastic set, and it was a handful. You had to drive it on the loose cutting edge. I mean, it was sketchy every lap. So I'm not sure what else I would have done there. Maybe just got it a little lower to the ground so it would go down the straightaways a little better.
Well, you'll head into next week's race at Michigan with a 4-point lead over the person behind you, which I believe is going to be Wayne Grossi, and you'll have to battle him for that last playoff spot. And really, what is it that you're going to have to do for this team to be able to try to spread a little bit of a gap between you and Grossi?
Well, I just figure I got to just do all I can do every race, and normally I focus on the trucks, but I put a lot of laps in this week for this race, which I'll probably do for the remaining race. I don't even know how many races are remaining, and it'll just turn out how it turns out. I mean, you got to have a little bit of racing luck too.
Absolutely. Just to find out a little bit more about this number 26 team, who helps get you to and from the virtual track?
Well, Spears Motorsports is an associate team with Bandit, and so all the guys can help us turn laps and give us ideas, and we just spent a lot of time practicing and building setups, and it really paid off tonight. So I think I think we're just going to continue with that plan.
Let you thank anyone else that you have that helps this team get around the track each week.
Yeah, well, you guys, Chris and Jared, for broadcasting the deal. I mean, it's kind of nice to go back and look, and Darkmatter for sponsoring the deal. Of course, the series and the admins that put in all the effort to put this show on. Really like last running it. So thanks.
Congrats on the P2 finish here tonight, and we'll be watching for you at Michigan to see exactly how you can get your way into the playoffs.
Gonna work hard at it.
All right, that was our runner-up tonight, Mr. Brian Helm, and I have caught up with Jeff Chandler, who grabs his 4th win of the year, and he did it in dominating fashion here tonight. Congratulations, Jeff.
Thanks, Jared. I appreciate it. It was a relief to finally get another W. It's been a while.
Yeah, talk us through this race. So the beginning phase of this race, it was you and Dean Doucette, and then the second phase of the race, it was you and Chuck Sweeting and Dean Doucette, so you had 3 cars there. But in each of those phases, every time we had a caution, you had to restart behind guys or gals on older tires.
Yeah, and that's, track position is everything. So I totally got what they were doing, but it sure does strike the fear of God in you when you're, back there, because you don't know how they're going to start off, and you have to be somewhat conservative, but you also, listen, I needed to get in front of Dean. I needed to get in front of Chuck. I needed to get in front of the guys that were, like Brian especially, because he had such huge runs on me coming out of the corners. He was getting off the corner so good. But, clean air is king, man, on this track in particular, probably more so than any track I've run on.
It is a very clean air-oriented track in this Gen 6 car on the oval. And, Jeff, we had a caution 49 laps in, and unfortunately it was because the second and third place drivers getting together. And now all of a sudden you got Bobby Terrell on the outside, you got Brian Helm behind you. 2 totally newcomers. Haven't seen much of them in your mirror at all tonight. What were you thinking when those guys were the new challengers?
Well, it's funny because at the beginning of the race, I asked Randy and Jeff, I'm like, where's Bobby? Because that's the first thing I usually ask every race is, where's he at? Because I said, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's going to end up up front at the end. I guarantee it. And he does all the time. You can count on it. But my approach was still the same. Just nail the, as soon as they said go, nail it and get through turn 1 and try to get up in front, by turn 2, and don't look back. Don't look in the rear view. And I didn't really do a whole lot of that.
Yeah, you did a great job. Got up front. You had Doyle Lawrence, your fan club chairperson out there in the chat. Said he got home late, but he was watching from work when he was out there, and he said Pat wanted to pass along his congratulations to you on a well-deserved victory. But Jeff, I'm assuming you're not racing next week, so I'm guessing the next race you're going to be out is Daytona. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. It's correct.
So you are. Go ahead.
We'll be ready for Michigan. The guys are going to be ready. We've practiced our tails off on that one too, and I think we have a hell of a setup.
It was a tough break for both of your teammates, Randy McCanny and Jeff Winter. Caught up in some accidents early in the race, both of them heavy damage, and weren't able to get going. But you come in to Michigan next week and then Daytona. You've withdrawn from the playoffs. Randy McCanny and Jeff Winter are in the playoffs, but there's still some seeding at play. You already said you're going to focus hard on Michigan, but you have Daytona looming. Does that change anything you're doing, or does this team start working on the first round of the playoffs in those tracks?
No, we're going to see how Michigan goes this week, and this is our focus right now is Michigan, and it's a big track. You got to be perfect, and the setup does, and because if not, you're never going to get separated, and you can't get separated, if you've got the right setup and clean air. So we're working hard on the guys at front line are kicking ass, and there's like 6 or 7 of us that are working on the A car, and we've been working on that while I'm working on Indy for the week, and it's all about Michigan right now. Not even thinking Daytona, because Daytona is kind of a crapshoot anyways.
It sure is, Jeff, but congratulations on a dominating performance here tonight at Indianapolis, grabbing your 4th win of the season, becoming the 3rd different driver to win an FTSR at Indy. I'm going to turn the mic over to you, let you have the last word, and congratulations again on that victory.
Well, thank you very much. I definitely want to thank Frontline Esports. such a great group of guys I work with, and we just have a blast and enjoy sim racing. And special shout out to Dan Shimoon and Travis Manning for helping me kind of tie up some loose ends on the Indy set. They were nice enough just to take time away from the Michigan stuff and help me with that, and I appreciate it big time. Also, Judd Danielson of Abruzzi Racewear. I love the guy to death. He does so much for our team, and go check out his racewear. It's some cool stuff, especially the new glove line they've got. It's outstanding. Doyle Lawrence. Can't say enough about how he makes my cars look. I swear it makes me feel like I'm faster, just the way they look. I also want to kind of give a shout out to him. He's a ER paramedic at Memorial Hermann Healthcare in Houston, Texas, and he is he's on the front line, and he's got they made like a makeshift MASH unit outside today for all the COVID patients, and it's like I keep reminding him he's doing good work, and he's a great guy, and he's a hell of an ER nurse, and they're in good hands there. But definitely want to give a shout out to him. Definitely Darkmatter Designs for their sponsoring our series. We appreciate that very much. Full Throttle TV. Jared, Chris, y'all do such a good job. It's like I said, I've watched probably every race from last year. The broadcast is outstanding, and definitely FTSR. It's just such a great group of guys, and it's run so well. I'm just proud to be a member.
We appreciate it, Jeff, and definitely our thoughts and prayers with Doyle Lawrence as he's out there doing some really difficult work. But congratulations again, Jeff, and we'll see you at Daytona.
All right, thanks, guys. See you, Jared.
All right, Chris, that was Jeff Chandler. Not going to be at Michigan, but you got to look ahead at Michigan coming up. We've only raced one track like Michigan. Michigan only on the schedule one time this year in NASCAR in real life. We raced at Auto Club, very similar. What can we expect at that Michigan track?
High speeds, Jared. These drivers are going to be all over one another. We had a little bit of separation here tonight at Indianapolis. That's going to be a lot harder to do at a track like Michigan when the aero package that these cars run just really lends itself to more like of a pack style racing.
And like I said before, I think Casey Mullen is going to be very close, if not already clinched into the playoffs on points. That's going to leave 2 spots opened heading into Michigan with 2 races to go. Who knows what's going to happen? Hope you'll join us here on Full Throttle TV. We're going to have all the action as we go into the playoff stretch and into the playoffs themselves, starting at Darlington in 3 weeks. Tomorrow night we have Kickin' Asphalt. Next Gen Cup Series, those guys doing a great job with that series. Have that live here on Full Throttle TV. And then Full Throttle Sim Racing back on Wednesday night with the Blackwater Products Truck Series, as they are also pushing toward the playoffs in that series with a trip to Gateway International, or now called Worldwide Technology Raceway, coming up next. But for tonight, for Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for Chris Spear, for Full Throttle TV, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.